Take control of the numbers and supercharge your small business with Xero. That's Xero. With our easy-to-use accounting software with automation and reporting features, you'll spend less time on manual tasks and more time understanding how your business is doing. 87% of surveyed U.S. customers agree Xero helps improve financial visibility. Search Xero with an X or visit xero.com/ACAST to start your 30-day free trial. Conditions apply.
Hi, this is Sherelle Dorsey from TED Tech, and this episode is brought to you by Solidigm. The world runs on data, and data relies on storage. But most businesses rarely think about how crucial that storage really is. The truth is, it's no longer just a commodity. With new demands and constraints, especially from AI, the old ways of managing data are holding innovation back. Solid-state storage from Solidigm is changing that. It helps reduce energy use, shrink physical footprints, and accelerate data at the edge, unlocking more from your AI infrastructure. Learn more at whatsthestateofyourstorage.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Hi, this is Sherelle Dorsey from TED Tech, and this episode is brought to you by Solidigm. The world runs on data, and data relies on storage. But most businesses rarely think about how crucial that storage really is. The truth is, it's no longer just a commodity. With new demands and constraints, especially from AI, the old ways of managing data are holding innovation back. Solid-state storage from Solidigm is changing that. It helps reduce energy use, shrink physical footprints, and accelerate data at the edge, unlocking more from your AI infrastructure. Learn more at whatsthestateofyourstorage.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Toby.
And welcome to the Whispering Woods Classic Ghost Stories. This episode is all about
The Jamaica Inn.
It is. I've actually been here, but we'll talk about that after. Are you ready for the story?
Yes, I am.
Dawn breaks to reveal the Jamaica Inn crouched against the wild, rugged expanse of Cornwall's Bodmin Moor. This remote inn opened its doors to travellers in the mid-18th century. Records state that an inn stood here since 1547, but the building standing today dates back to 1750, when it was established as a coaching inn along the new Turnpike Road, between Bodmin and Launceston. Back then, Bodmin Moor's roads were perilous and desolate. A stagecoach stop like Jamaica Inn was a beacon of refuge for coachmen and passengers navigating the misty, treacherous moorland. Its isolation was its charm, and its curse. By 1778, the inn expanded in an L shape with stables and a coach house, offering shelter not only to honest wayfarers, but also to those who skulked in the shadows of the law. By the late 1700s and early 1800s, Cornwall was a land of smugglers' law. The inn's granite walls soon hid secrets as dark as the night. The Jamaica Inn gained a reputation as a smuggler's haven. By some accounts, half the brandy smuggled into England and a quarter of the tea came through the coasts of Cornwall and Devon. And legend insists barrels of illicit Jamaican rum found refuge in the cellars of the inn. The name Jamaica Inn was long thought to derive from those Caribbean spirits smuggled ashore, though in truth it honours the local Trelawney family, two of whom served as governors of Jamaica in the 18th century. Night after night in that era, while respectable travellers slept upstairs, smugglers would convene in the back rooms and shadowy corners below, huddled over contraband casks. The glow of lantern light on rough-hewn beams often accompanied the murmur of furtive negotiations, and it was said that asking too many questions at the Jamaica Inn could be one's undoing. In the surrounding moor, bogs and granite tors swallowed up more than a few bodies over the years, a perfect place to disappear those who betrayed the smuggler's code. Local folklore from the 18th and 19th centuries speaks of strange lights moving across the moor at night, thought to be smugglers with lanterns guiding their partners from the coast. Travellers who arrived at the inn on stormy evenings sometimes reported uneasy sightings, a distant lantern bobbing and then vanishing, or figures loading wagons behind the inn, only to melt away if approached. By the turn of the 19th century, the Jamaica Inn's reputation was twin-faced. By day a warm refuge on the wind-swept moor, by night a den of clandestine commerce and perhaps violence. If walls could talk, the granite and oak of the Jamaica Inn might recount meetings by candlelight, quarrels over spoils, and the occasional gunshot muffled by howling wind. As the years passed and the coaching era waned, stories of uncanny encounters around the Jamaica Inn began to surface. On moonlit nights, when the moor is silver with mist, people have reported the clatter of invisible hooves in the courtyard. The sound is unmistakable, the ring of iron horseshoes and the creak of wooden wheels on stone, yet nothing is ever seen outside. According to one story, the traveller sheltering at the inn stables in the 19th century ran out with lantern in hand after hearing horses in distress. He was greeted only by an empty yard, silent except for the echo of a distant neigh that faded on the wind. Trembling, he noticed the cobblestones were dry, no hoofprints, no wheels. It was as if the stones remembered an earlier time. Witnesses claim the phantom wheels sound on gravel, not the current cobbles, as though the ghostly imprint of an older era bleeds through. Not all riders on the moor were welcome guests. The highwaymen of old left their own legends behind. A mysterious cloaked figure in a tricorn hat has been spotted within the inn's walls, known to appear suddenly in doorways. This shadowy gentleman, perhaps a long-dead highwayman or smuggler, vanishes through solid walls as quickly as he comes. One tale describes a pair of travellers in the 1800s warming themselves by the fire when a man in old-fashioned riding clothes materialised at the back of the room. He tipped his tricorn hat to them before striding toward a wall and promptly passed straight through the solid oak door. Startled, the travellers hurried to the door, only to find the corridor empty. Ever since, the phantom rider is said to roam the inn and its grounds, sometimes on horseback across the moor, other times as a dark-cloaked apparition slipping through the walls. Within the inn's thick stone walls, silence is rarely absolute. Over the decades, guests and staff have reported sounds that prick the ears and quicken the heart. More than one manager doing their rounds in the quiet hours has paused, believing late-night guests are chatting behind a closed door, only to open it and find no one inside. The voices always seem distant, urgent, yet indistinct. Stranger still, they're often reported in no language the listener recognises. Some not quite English, perhaps an archaic tongue. Many have speculated that these disembodied conversations are spoken in Cornish, the old Celtic language of the region, which faded from daily use by the late 18th century. Then there are the footsteps, in the dead of night when guests are tucked in bed and the inn has gone still. The sound of heavy boots pacing along the corridors has been heard on many occasions. Often it's a slow, deliberate tread, thump, 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 like a man walking the hall on some mission. More than one guest has opened their door, expecting to see an insomniac wanderer, only to face an empty, drafty hallway. Even in daylight, the inn isn't free of its eerie acoustics. Tourists browsing the little gift shop or the Smugglers Museum, housed in what was once the old stable, have been started by a man's voice speaking in low, urgent tones around the corner. Yet rounding the corner reveals only dust motes in a sunbeam. Staff members, busy with morning chores, have heard the clink of tankards or a sudden crash in an empty room. Of all the ghosts said to linger at the Jamaica Inn, the oldest and most storied is known simply as the Murdered Stranger, the cautionary legend of Bodmin Moor. It begins on a cold night sometime in the early 1800s. The exact year is lost to time. A lone wayfarer, a man of unknown name and origin, took lodging at the inn. By the glow of the lanterns, he was seen quietly sipping ale at the bar, keeping to himself. Some recall he wore a heavy coat and spoke with an accent not local to Cornwall. As midnight neared, the door blew open and a second man, face obscured by the night, poked his head in, calling the stranger out. The stranger set down his tankard, still half full of ale, and stepped outside into the blackness beyond the threshold. He never returned alive. By dawn, his corpse was found out on the moor. The cause of his death was not obvious. Some say he was stabbed, others that he was strangled. The identity of his assailant remained a mystery, and to this day the murder is unsolved. Yet the story did not end with his death. Not long after, patrons began to speak of a silent man seen sitting by the roadside wall in front of the inn on certain evenings. He matched the description of the murdered stranger, a forlorn figure in a coat, perched on the low stone wall, gazing out over the moor. Those who greeted him got no reply. Those who approached too closely said the man simply faded into thin air. This apparition became a regular sighting over the decades. Notably, in 1911, the local newspapers even carried accounts of widespread sightings of this stranger on the wall. Travellers, villagers, even a postal worker making an early round all reported independently the same thing. A motionless man sitting outside the inn before dawn. Inside the inn, his presence is felt too. Footsteps are often heard trudging along the passage to the bar, only to stop at the spot where decades ago a tankard of ale was left unfinished. On especially quiet nights, bartenders have heard the creak of floorboards and a faint impression of a figure, as if someone just entered. One former landlord swore that, while closing up alone, he saw the stool by the bar indent as though bearing weight, and he knew in his gut that his invisible patron was the wayfarer returned. By the early 20th century, the Jamaica Inn's notorious past was largely confined to local folklore. But in the 1930s, a twist of fate would catapult the inn's dark legend into the global imagination. In 1930, a young author named Daphne du Maurier became lost in a thick fog while riding on Bodmin Moor. Along with a friend, she wandered the desolate expanse until, by providence, they stumbled upon the lights of the Jamaica Inn. They took refuge there for the night. The acting landlord at the time, who happened also to be the local rector, according to one version of the story, welcomed the stranded women and, over the course of the evening, regaled du Maurier with the tales of the inn's history. 6 years later, in 1936, Daphne du Maurier published her novel, Jamaica Inn, a gothic tale of smuggling, deception and murder set at the inn itself. The book's chilling portrayal of Cornwall's wreckers and cutthroats, and the inn at the heart of it all, captured readers worldwide. In the novel, du Maurier describes nights of howling wind and secretive comings and goings at the inn. It was a huge success, and soon the Jamaica Inn became a household name. Alfred Hitchcock adapted it into a film in 1939. Though the movie was shot elsewhere, fans began flocking to the real Jamaica Inn, eager to walk in the footsteps of Mary Ellen, the novel's heroine, and Joss Merlin, its villainous smuggler landlord. Interestingly, du Maurier's novel contains no ghosts. Its horrors are human. Yet locals have noted parallels between the novel's atmosphere and the inn's real-life supernatural lore. Not all of the Jamaica Inn's ghosts are menacing highwaymen or murdered smugglers. Some are far more poignant and perhaps more mischievous. Through the years, several guests have reported encounters with spirits of children. In particular, Room 3 and Room 5 have gained a reputation for childish paranormal pranks. Housekeepers cleaning Room 3 in the morning have been baffled to find tiny handprints on the mirror. Even on days when no guests with children have stayed, time and again they wipe the glass clean, only for faint fingerprints to reappear. Female guests in that room have woken to the subtle sensation of small, invisible hands brushing against their calf or tugging at the hem of their clothing. One woman, half asleep, murmured thinking it was her child, only to remember she'd travelled alone. She opened her eyes to an empty room. Moments later, the soft sound of a baby crying drifted through the air. Some link this phenomenon to the tragic tale of a young mother named Mary, who in the 19th century allegedly lost her baby and wanders in search of him. Room 5, meanwhile, is famed as the most haunted room of the inn. Guests who specifically request it, and there are many, often leave with tales to tell. The spirit of a little girl, affectionately dubbed Hannah by some, is said to live here. One couple settling in for the night left a small teddy bear on the dresser, a trigger object for any ghost children, they joked. In the deep of night, they awoke to a light pitter-patter sound. The next morning, they found tiny wet footprints on the carpet, leading from the bedside to the wardrobe, which curiously used to be the door to an old bathroom years ago. Their teddy bear had been moved to the floor. On another occasion, a hardened military man staying alone in room 5 fled in terror at 2 a.m. He later confessed that he awoke to find a translucent girl standing by his bed, her bare feet damp, her eyes wide in innocent curiosity. Over the years, many others sleeping in room 5 have heard the patter of small feet running in the hallway, or felt a presence tugging at the pillows. Some have even started leaving little toys or dolls as gifts for Hannah. Interestingly, staff say these toys have a way of moving around on their own. A doll left on a shelf one day might be found on the armchair the next. A tourist from London wrote about dining in the old pub room one evening when she felt a firm tap on her shoulder, as if someone wanted her attention. She turned around expecting to see a prank by her husband or a waiter, but her husband was engrossed in his meal and no one else was near. Only moments later did she recall the stories and feel a prickling on her neck. Another guest, who stayed in a newer wing of the hotel, claimed that each night around 1 a.m, the lights in his ensuite bathroom would flicker and switch themselves off. Initially chalking it up to old wiring, he was more confused when a maintenance check found no electrical issues. Those who purposefully book the haunted rooms often get what they seek: a pair of friends on a weekend ghost hunting package. We counted setting up a camcorder and some trigger objects in room 4. At around 2:30 a.m, after hours of quiet, the stillness was broken by the distinct sound of knocking, 3 slow knocks, coming from the wardrobe. Both women watched in astonishment as the wardrobe door, which they had left ajar, pulled itself closed with a click. On reviewing their footage later, they captured the knock on audio, but the door movement was just off camera. Even the staff, who might grow accustomed to the inn's quirks, have had their hair-raising moments. In October of 2017, a bartender named April was closing up on a quiet Sunday night. The CCTV camera recording the bar area picked up a bizarre incident. The wall-mounted telephone's handset lifted off the cradle on its own and smashed to the floor, startling April, who was cleaning glasses nearby. Just minutes earlier, she had heard the heavy creak of the closed bar door swinging open, but when she looked, no one was there. The phone's violent fall, caught on video, made local news and is still shown to visitors. Perhaps the most frightening modern encounter came from a skeptic-turned-believer, a gentleman who openly scoffed at the notion of ghosts, decided to spend a night at the Jamaica Inn to prove it was all nonsense. He booked into one of the older rooms past midnight, unable to sleep. He later admitted the atmosphere had him on edge. He sat awake in bed, and that's when he heard it. The doorknob of his room rattling, slowly at first, then more insistently. The door was locked, and thinking it a drunken guest or a friend playing a joke, he angrily got up and yanked the door open. The corridor was empty, no one to be seen. As he stood there, the cold gust of air pushed past him into the room. Something unseen seemed to brush by him. For the first time that night, the man felt a stab of fear. He spent the remainder of the dark hours sitting in the lobby, under the comforting gaze of the night receptionist, conceding that some legends are best respected.
Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to entertain my kids without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids started using it right away and haven't stopped since. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more at no screens or ads. Now through December 1st, Yoto is having its biggest sale of the year. Check out yotoplay.com.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction. But there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Before your dad and I had you, your dad went to stay at the Jamaica Inn with his brother, who used to do the seance nights, like the paranormal nights, with his Ouija board.
Yeah.
The weird stuff went on. Your dad rang me because they were doing a Ouija board and this couple had joined in and hadn't said anything, but their son had died under mysterious circumstances. And your uncle and your dad didn't know anything about it, obviously. And the board went on to tell them that he had actually been murdered. And they had thought that themselves. It was all a bit spooky.
Yeah, that's mad.
That is mad, isn't it? I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but it was along those lines. And this young lad had been, what the parents thought had been murdered by a friend. Whether it were, well, I say murdered because I'm not sure if it was an accident, but it was caused by somebody else.
Yeah, that's mad.
Isn't it? And when I went to stay there for Auntie Rachel's birthday, we all went down there. So it was me, Nat, my old friend, Nanny, Auntie Becky, and obviously Auntie Rachel. And we stayed there for a weekend. And when I shared a bed with Natalie, right, and I kept getting my leg and hooking it onto her legs. I know, really weird. Because she woke up in the next morning, she said, "Can you just stop hook-legging me?" Just I'd hook her leg under my legs. But she said that she heard a little girl in the night. And I can remember throughout the night, all you can hear is the sign. And we thought they've got a squeaker on it. Because it moves and there's no wind. And it's like it squeaks in the wind, but continuously. So we did wonder if there was some kind of mechanical thing on it to actually make it swing like that, to give it the atmosphere. I think there was. I really, truly think there was. But a great place. And we stayed there. And that's when we went, the first time I went to the Museum of Witchcraft, not far away. But yeah. And another thing, so I do want to mention this about Daphne du Maurier. She wrote a book called Rebecca. I haven't read the book. Lazy of me, I know. But I have watched the old film with Laurence Olivier, I think it is, in it. It's black and white, and I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it. I watched it, I made Macy watch it when she was quite young, and she loved it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's an old film. And she gets married to this rich man and they go back to his mansion. And it's all a bit spooky of what's going on. But really, really, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
You won't ever watch it, but some people out there may want to have a look. I think it's on YouTube.
That's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed and we'll catch up with you again soon.
We will indeed. We will catch you again tomorrow, and Toby will be on the episode. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.
If you're a smoker or vapor, ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Dear Career Ladder, you've had your moment. You're linear and one-dimensional. Ambition doesn't just go up anymore. It zigs and zags and squiggles. We're CEOs, executives, founders. We're advising companies, launching side hustles, taking breaks, defining our next act. Ambition on our terms, the possibilities are endless. Chief, lead on. Join us at chief.com.
Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to entertain my kids without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids started using it right away and haven't stopped since. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more at no screens or ads. Now through December 1st, Yoto is having its biggest sale of the year. Check out yotoplay.com.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.